Hello everyone, welcome to CryptoPi. In today's video, I want to talk about the narrative which I came across various social media platforms, and that is to say that quite a few people say that this time is different, or a bunch of people, or quite a big bunch of people say that history will repeat. So what we are looking at is the Bitcoin in its USD pair. And about this narrative, what I think is their perspective of this time is different and history will repeat. I don't totally agree, but just with the statement that this time is different and history will repeat, I do agree that it is different and history will repeat. Now, why do I say that? My reasoning is based on the Bitcoin rainbow wave indicator, which we have been discussing in the last video. And what has happened in the last video is we have discussed about the wave trend, which was this one, and here we see are the rainbow bands, the wave line, and halving and time Fibonacci levels in time Fibonacci. To make the chart simpler and much more cleaner, I have marked the crossovers of price with the wave, price with the red line, and price with the green line. So I will get rid of all of this indicator, or not all, but let's say the machine heavy indicators, and instead of indicators I will display the crossovers of price with the red line, with the vertical line, then green line, and the crossover with the purple line. Now these are the three categories of line which are basically all I need for understanding this cycle. And my understanding of this cycle, that we are coming to end of it, is purely based on understanding historical patterns. Now this model can fail. I have seen various other models which failed in the last cycle, and if this model will work or not, we can only know when we see the cycle top and when we see the next bottom for Bitcoin. So the first argument here is, all right, why do people say that this time is different? And what they have been calculating is that we have many companies coming in with their millions and some bigger companies coming in with their billions and investing in Bitcoin. And this is the reason that we won't end our cycle in quarter of this year, in the fourth quarter of this year. So there is a group of people who say that the bull run will not end here, but it might extend up until next year or the year later. And the other set of people who say that, all right, history will repeat. That means that we have not seen a parabolic rally like we have seen in the past cycles. So we are not there yet in the sense of Bitcoin's cycle top. And none of the indicators have signaled us that Bitcoin has hit its cycle top. So how can it be that the cycle is going to end? Both arguments are pretty valid, and these arguments are also based on historical data, but there are some things which are missed, and I want to point those out. Now the first thing is about the indicators signaling cycle top. Most of them, they signal cycle top over here in the last cycle have basically failed. And the reason for that is this was not the cycle top. No matter what the narrative is, that we had manipulation, price action was basically driven by FTX and so on and so forth, whatnot, whatever the narrative is, at the end of the day, if you want to look at the chart, you would say that this was the cycle high. And cycle high was basically in the week of 8th November, and cycle high for previous cycle was 68,997. That's all. It was not at this point. It was not 64,000. It's as simple as that. So all the indicators which went here, they basically are not applicable over here. Now, so which indicators should we rely on? To me, halving is a critical aspect of Bitcoin, basically price action or Bitcoin itself as an asset class. And this particular model is based on halving of Bitcoin and how far this particular distribution and accumulation lines stretch out after the halving. So halving is for, the yellow line, we had halving over here in 2012, in 2016 in July, in 2020 in May, and in April in 2024. So after halving, we have seen quite a parabolic rally every single time. This time we did not see a parabolic rally. Probably that is also one of the reasons why a lot of people are convinced that we do not have the cycle top yet, and we are not even close to finishing the cycle of Bitcoin, and we will still have another cycle top. It could happen. There is no definite reason, or there is nothing written in stone that this will happen and nothing else can happen. But what this particular model tells me is that we are ending the cycle. We are very close to start the downtrend. Price action can be anything. It can go slightly higher, go up to 117, or go down, or it can go all the way up. It can shoot to, in this week, 230, and then start going down. And if that doesn't happen, basically then this model fails. But up until now, if I have to compare all the other models, this is the model which I have come across and it has not failed. This model does not tell you when the cycle top is. It simply tells you that cycle top is already in and now begins the downtrend. It could happen that this model does not tell you when the cycle top is in, but the downtrend will begin soon. So if it is slightly shifted, perhaps we might see a rally over here and then downtrend begins. So then the pattern of the model has shifted by 1 or 2 weeks, and eventually in future cycles this model would have to be adjusted with its offset. And if it doesn't work, then something else has to be worked on to identify how to identify when the accumulation phase and distribution phase begin. Now, my reasoning why we won't have a parabolic rally lies behind what happened during the accumulation phase before the parabola began, or before the bull run for Bitcoin had begun. Over here in the year of 2015, we had the accumulation phase of 39 weeks, and then we started the price crossed over the purple line, and we saw a bull run making a parabolic rally from 2015 up until 2017, so almost for two years. Now in the next cycle, the accumulation phase was not that long. It was, let's see, to be exact, let's say the price crossed over here at the close of it, 15 bars, and this one 14 bars. So that is 14 weeks of accumulation. Then we saw a mini parabola, if you want to consider this as a parabolic rise, but then that kind of died out when we started seeing a downtrend from here, and this downtrend lasted, I hope this mark until this point, for 25 weeks. That's more than the accumulation period over here. Then we had a corona crash, which basically brought price back to its level at the end of the accumulation. So the price was reset. At this point, there was a lot of money printing, and you can say that this accumulation period was stretched out to another few weeks, and then we saw the parabolic rally. Now, if the corona crash would not have happened, my guess would have been that it would have gone something like this way, and we would have already seen lots and lots of indicators fail over here. None of those indicators would have been signaling top of the cycle if we did not see a parabolic rally here. But this is just a hypothetical situation. We don't know if it would have actually went like this way. But what we could, so this is simply a counterfactual, right? Because this is the fact, and this is what you are trying to assume that what could have happened. Now, in this particular cycle, the current cycle, our accumulation period is how much? If we're starting from here to here, it's 12 weeks. It's way lower. It's not way lower, but it's lower than the previous cycle. And the pullback, which began over here, lasted, let's say, up until this point. That was 9 weeks. So this pullback was just 3 weeks. 3 weeks less than the accumulation period, and that sounds to me pretty crazy. That if the accumulation period is so low, how can we compare this particular cycle with this cycle or this particular cycle? It makes no sense. To me, you cannot say that a bull run which lasts for approximately 3 years begins with just 12 weeks of accumulation. We are in bull run, but we are not in parabolic price action. So here we do see a gradual increase, and the reason why all the top indicators are not flashing the Bitcoin top is in is because quite a few indicators rely on moving averages. Moving averages, they show some crossover, and whenever a certain amount of crossover has happened because of the slope of the moving average, it is indicated as the top, which did work quite fine for the first 3 tops. So that was in 2013, 2 tops in 2013, and in 2017 1 top. Moving averages did not detect the top in 2021. 2021 top happened over here, not over here. So that particular model did not work. There were some other indicators based on the number of blocks. So basically on-chain data, and the price was estimated to be, at this point, the price was supposed to be at $250,000. That model has failed completely. And at this point today, that model says the price should have already been more than $500,000. We do not see it. We are far away from $500,000. We are actually about to start a new downtrend. So in coming months, that particular model, which is on-chain model, is going far above $500,000, and we are going in the opposite direction. So that model cannot be considered. And what this model tells us that, all right, my accumulation period was so low, but I do have a gradual money flowing in the Bitcoin. Bitcoin has rallied for 3 years. So the 3-year bull run plus 1 year bear market or downtrend, that cycle has not yet been broken. That is the only model which still holds valid. Of course, that model will fail if the price continues to go higher up until the green line. Then this model has failed. We can throw it out and think of something else which might help us to navigate the price action of Bitcoin. This accumulation analogy to me appears that we could see it like a spring. So the more you compress the spring and the longer you hold, the energy gets accumulated, and when you release it, it goes crazy. But if you just press the spring very little and just release it, you might see a very small jump, but then the jump dies out. And same thing has happened here. Here we had seen some always very small money flow coming into the Bitcoin at regular intervals. And here we saw money coming in at crazy long time, but mainly from, let's say, individual investors and a lot of hype. The number of companies which are there today in Bitcoin market, they were not there. Very few companies were involved at this point. The other confluence which I see for this particular cycle is on this app, into the Cryptoverse app, where these are basically the charts from Bitcoin's bottom for that cycle to the peak of the cycle. I tend to ignore the first two cycles because the price action was not developed enough. But I want to compare it with the current cycle 5, with the cycle 3 and 4. We see it, we are quite extended here. So we are on 1075th day, and previous two cycles, we were in 1066th day, and the other one was at 1059. So if we have already bottomed over here and we are running over 1000 days, that is, or 1060 days, that is almost 3 years of bull run. So the idea of 3 years of uptrend and 1 year of downtrend still holds valid. Actually, the downtrend is not for 1 whole year. Downtrend includes, so the 1 year includes downtrend plus the accumulation period. It could happen that because of the macro conditions, Bitcoin might see a crash over here, maybe not like this one, but let's say more over here. And then we have a pretty long accumulation for whatever reason. And we will have a pretty long accumulation, and then we might start see rally again after the week of 21st September. purple line, which whenever the price crosses, we will refer back to the Bitcoin rainbow wave, if it is still valid. If the price, let's say next week, goes up and crosses 140, 150,000, and we do not see any indication that price is going to be at its low, but before September, and it's still making higher highs, then yeah, we think of something else, and probably at that point we will consider that the parabolic rally might happen, and we might see some of the indicators show that it's the top. But so far, none of them are indicating that. All right, so we have a couple of confluences. So one is the time-based confluence, one is halving-based crossings of price, and then the other is how far the cycle is stretched out. So in conclusion, this time is different and history will repeat, but not exactly the way the narrative is going on, not the way how crypto Twitter is promoting that we will have another parabolic rally in next 2 weeks and price will go to 200,000. It's not that it cannot happen. Anything can happen in market, but it is less likely. So the idea is to manage the risk. If I see that price is in overbought condition, then why not take some profit and wait and watch how the price goes. If the price is going up, enter again. If the price goes down and it has settled down, then enter again. You basically will reduce your loss. Let's say if this model is true, and if I am holding my asset here, listening to the crypto Twitter sentiment, and the price goes over here, right, up until 54, and then the week after it goes somewhere here for whatever crazy reason, and price goes up again in the next 3 years, let's say here. So I basically would wait for, I don't know how much, 140 weeks, almost 6 months, 8-7 months, I don't know. Why would I want to wait before I am even, before I'm make even to, I mean, no profit, no loss, and I have to wait for 6 to 7 months? That kind of investment trading, I do not prefer to do it like that. So for me, it is quite risky to enter here, given the historical pattern of this indicator. It's possible that I might miss some gains here, and that's okay. And if the model fails, I will re-enter at some point. But at the moment, it's too risky to enter this asset class. It's basically wait and watch for a few weeks, and this basically, yeah, that's all for today's video. If you like the analysis, if you like the content, then do hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.